We warn you first.
Good evening, I'm forecaster Kaylee Hunt, and taking a look at the satellite radar, our temperatures were right at average today. Lows in the 60s and highs in the 80s. Here's what our forecast high was for Midland and Odessa, 87 degrees, and then 88 in Wink, and even south of I-10. It was still relatively warm in the mid to upper 80s, but that is right at average for this time of year. And seeing where we are now compared to this time yesterday, well, we're just slightly warmer by about 2 to 3 degrees this evening in comparison to yesterday evening. But seeing how cool it's going to get overnight into tomorrow morning, well, most of the viewing area will get out of the 80s, get out of the 70s, and get into the mid 60s. 65 is what we're going to be at in Midland and Odessa, 66 in Wink, and south of I-10, even cooler in the mid to upper 50s. But we won't stay there that long. Later on in the evening, around 3 p.m., we're going to warm right back up into the mid 80s. 84 for Midland and Odessa, and 86 for Wink, and 88 for Pecos, again around 3 p.m. tomorrow. But will we see any more rain activity? Well, it doesn't look like we are overnight into tomorrow morning. Around 8 a.m., most of the viewing area will be waking up to a little bit of cloud coverage. Now, south of I-10, especially to the eastern part of our viewing area by Dryden, could be seeing a little bit of pop-up storms and showers tomorrow morning, but that won't last too long. By 1 p.m., the cloud coverage will not only leave our viewing area, a little bit of storm activity will form. However, it will be outside of our viewing area off to the eastern part. Again, Dryden could be seeing a little bit of wet weather, but for the rest of us, it doesn't look likely. Unfortunately, that's not good news because our drought monitor isn't really improving. However, this drought monitor will be updated tomorrow, but where we need some rain is definitely parts of the northern basin as well as part of the Permian Basin, because they are showing up orange, meaning they're showing up severe, and then they're also showing up red, meaning showing up extreme on this drought monitor. Now, today wasn't really humid, especially not in comparison to yesterday and the day before. We were looking at dew points in the mid to upper 50s. However, tomorrow is going to change. 64 is where we're going to start the day off for the dew points, which means, yes, a little bit of moisture in the air. And then later on throughout the day, it is going to remain in the 60s, especially in the Permian Basin. So it is going to feel just slightly more humid tomorrow than it was today in the Permian Basin. But south of I-10, not going to feel humid at all with dew points in the mid to upper 50s, but today was close to average. Now, we did start the day off at 64, just slightly warmer than average, and our forecasted high for Midland and Odessa was 86 degrees. Now, average is 88, so we're just barely hitting average, but tomorrow it's actually going to be slightly warmer by about 2 to 3 degrees, depending on where you're at. The northern basin will be experiencing temperatures in the mid to upper 80s. Andrews forecasted to be 89, Seminole 87, as well as Lamesa at 87. And then we have Midland and Odessa, mid to upper 80s, 89, Penwell 88, Grand Falls a little bit warmer at 90 degrees, and Monahans a little bit warmer at 90 degrees as well. And then we have Trans-Pecos in the mid to lower 90s, 91 for Pecos, 87 for Fort Stockton, and 86 for Bakersfield. And then the mountains, which is usually cooler than the rest of us, going to remain in the mid to lower 80s. Fort Davis 84, Marfa 84 as well, and Presidio a little bit warmer at 92. Now, here's your look at the 7-day forecast. 89 forecasted for tomorrow and mild. And then on Friday, well, here comes a little bit of the wind speed. It is going to be relatively breezy, 15 to 20 miles per hour Friday night into Saturday morning. And Saturday, good news for us rain lovers, 50% chance for some rain on Saturday with a high way cooler than average at 84. And then on Sunday, a high of 86, 30% chance for some more rain. So this weekend's going to be very rainy. Good news. And temperatures aren't going to get into the 80s at all, with lows remaining in the upper 60s. So we get a little bit of everything. We don't get warm temperatures, we get average temperatures, and we get to see some rain this weekend. Yeah. Very good news.
Good for us. But over on the East Coast in the Carolinas, they're bracing right now for Hurricane Florence, and it seems like most of the people are heeding the warnings and evacuating or really hunkering down for this particular storm, because you said it's going to be there not by Thursday, now by Friday.
It is projected to be by Friday, and it was actually decreased. It's now a Category 3. Again, inland flooding is still a major issue, along with very gusty winds. So like you just said, people really do need to prepare.
All right, Kaylee. Well, as Hurricane Florence hits the Carolinas, it's throwing